going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the German Bear Podcast. And today we want to take a deep dive into the biggest steal of the 2025 NFL Draft. Let's talk about Bears pick in the second round, Luther Burden. And as I said in today's intro, it's going to be all about newest Bears wide receiver Luther Burden out of Missouri. As I said, to me, he's one of the, if not the biggest steal of the 2025 NFL Draft for any team, with the way he fell into the second round, and the Chicago Bears used a premium pick early on in round 2 to address a premium position to gain more depth and get an absolute weapon in Luther Burden the third in round 2 with pick number 39. And now I have more time to scout Luther and just get into his game tape a little bit more. I scouted 4 additional games to the ones I already watched and just perfected my scouting report on him. So today we're going to analyze what he's going to bring to the Chicago Bears and what he is as a player and what he can be in the NFL. Now, before we want to do that, let's look at the Bears wide receiver and skills situation at this point right now. We got DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Olamide Zaccheaus at the wide receiver position as notable ones, and then Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet at the tight end position. And we also had a couple of departures, especially to mention Keenan Allen as a big one who is going to miss in the slot or be missing in the slot for the Chicago Bears. So they needed somewhat of a replacement for that. And I honestly love the Olamide Zaccheaus signing in free agency for a cheap money deal. I already did a film room on him, so if you want to, feel free to check that out, what he's going to bring to the Bears offense, because he's a very good player too. But a premium pick in round 2 with a first round talent laying there is a great chance for any team to get better, and the Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson definitely used that and made the receiving core one of the most dangerous ones in the entire NFL. So welcome to Chicago, Luther Burden, and let's get into the draft tape study. And the biggest thing for me with Luther Burden, the biggest plus point, is definitely the yak ability as far as his college tape goes. I think he's very dangerous with the ball in his hands. He has a nasty stiff arm, so he can run through you, but is also extremely elusive. And it's just silly how he makes people miss at some points in his game tape. He has an excellent start-stop motor, so he can stop on a dime and re-accelerate within seconds and show that 4.4 speed that he possesses in his 40 time, and it shows up on tape too after he caught the football. Tacklers are bouncing off of him, even though they try to disrupt the football or lay a big hit. They just basically bounce off of him, and he has a great north-south mentality, which I love. So whenever he catches the football, he doesn't run around too much. Obviously, there's a couple of times where he made some special things, like Tariq Cohen back in the day happened, where he just bounced off and ran back all the way to the other sideline, which is not always great, but he made it happen and made some special plays. But mostly he's just very north-south, trying to get the extra yards and get a first down for Missouri, which was very great to see. And the way he moves, to me, is really, and it sounds crazy, a mix of DJ Moore and Deebo Samuel's power as a receiver and Justin Jefferson's and Jerry Jeudy's elusiveness and smoothness in space. I mean, when you see Justin Jefferson run, it just looks very natural and just easy the way he moves, and I think the same goes for Luther Burden. I'm not saying he is Justin Jefferson, just the way he moves in space is like JJ and Jeudy, and DJ and Deebo's power you can see on Luther Burden's tape too as a runner. So yak is one big plus for him. Now, the next thing I want to mention is his route running. And this is extremely underrated in my opinion because of the lack of Mizzou offense and how they featured Luther Burden. He mostly ran routes under 10 yards, which was very underwhelming because whenever he was granted to run a out route, a corner route, a dig, over 10 yards, he really did well, and I think they really underutilized him in that spot. So he was held back a little bit by that Missouri offense and the quarterback play, in my opinion. But we'll talk about route running right now. And I charted all of his routes, and he can run every route in the NFL, in my opinion. Now, this is something that will be more projected to the league, in my opinion, and we don't have the true evidence on tape because he ran a lot of routes that he will run in the NFL. Hopefully, just a limited amount of time, but he did and looked excellent while doing it. So I'm really excited what he's going to do for Ben Johnson, and I don't think he's going to be a pure slot for the Chicago Bears, to take that away from the conclusion already. But as a route runner, again, for his pure route running skills, he is an excellent route runner in my opinion that knows how to attack leverage, especially if we're talking about out routes. That's a great example of him attacking inside leverage to create space to work out into for himself, and then really attacks the DB or linebacker or safety vertically, threatens him within his frame, and then has a very sudden hip drop and weight transfer to break back out. Has very square shoulders and good speed cuts that he displayed on those out routes. So I think that was a great route to display on 10 and outs, how he can attack a DB and understands leverage. That's an NFL route right there. But other than that, very fluid player. Like I said, can read leverage and knows how to utilize it to his advantage. Has excellent jabs and rocker steps within his route already, or his routes already, excuse me. Also, he knows how to attack the blind spot of a DB and turn his hips, get him turned around to make it hard to recover. And he also presses vertical to the frame and make him uncomfortable, and has excellent quickness. So for his routes, I think the best routes he ran was slot fades and out routes, but he had a couple of really good dig routes that he ran, a couple of really nice hitches, curls into the zone, but also had go routes and a couple of interesting speed outs, wheels, deep outs, curls, spot routes, and goes, nows, bubs. So like I said, he ran a lot of short stuff, but on the deeper stuff, he looked pretty good in the limited amount he was granted to run it at Missouri. Now, the third big point I want to make is his hands. I think it's also an excellent catcher of the football, very natural hands. Hand-eye coordination is great. His ability to run fades and slot fades is something that gets me really excited for the Chicago Bears. I mean, he really has a great ability to high point footballs and separate at the catch point on some back shoulder throws from his quarterback. And he also has excellent late hands, which is super important, obviously, for a DB. If he looks at the receiver and his hands flash very late, there's nothing a DB can do to defend that, and he did that on a lot of slot fades against, for example, great competition against South Carolina and Texas A&M, and he also possesses great body control to turn his body, box out the DB, and make a great play on the football. So hands were very big on tape on the study today as well. And then the last big plus point to me is zone coverage. Obviously, in the NFL, you're going to face a lot of great zone coverage teams, and I think he displayed great recognition, patience, and a really good feel for the green grass and the opening within the zone, and to anticipate where the linebacker is going to run into the flats. So that hook, the curl zone, should be open for him, and he sat there and made a lot of crucial catches for first downs or a couple of good gains on second down. So I think in zone, he acts very good as well. Now, for the questions and cons with Luther Burden, one question for me is, first of all, his ability as an outside receiver. Like I said, I do think he can translate his skills into a good mixed overall complete wide receiver in the NFL, and I think he's not only bound to play a slot role for the Chicago Bears, maybe not early on, maybe he primarily plays in the slot for the Bears in 2025, which is absolutely fine, but I think as he is staying with Chicago, he will expand that role and be a more complete receiver down the road for the Bears. But as of right now, we don't have that much tape with him playing at a outside receiver role, with just Missouri not using him. And then a couple of cons. I think his route speed and yak speed is different. So when he caught the football, he had a different gear. And I like that he played with his gears during his route running at certain points, but sometimes he was just a little bit too slow to his point. And in the NFL, the most important thing is timing to get your quarterback and your wide receiver on the same page. So he's got to quicken that up. But with Antoine Randall, he's going to be in his ear to run full speed every time. So I'm excited for that, and I think we got a great receiver coach that can get the most out of Luther Burden. And then the blocking is more of a con/question mark. I mean, there was a lot of reps where he was blocking, and he had some great effort reps, but also some low effort reps as well. So blocking is up and down for me, but I think with, again, Antoine Randall, he will get that fixed rather quickly in the offseason or training camp with the Bears. So for Luther Burden, overall, what's my conclusion? First of all, he's going to have another couple of great pass catchers in front of him. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Colson Loveland, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, Olamide Zaccheaus as wide receiver 4. There's guys that will gather attention from defenses, and he's going to have a lot of space to work with. And people are going to forget about at least one wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. And in that week, that receiver is going to eat. And I think Luther Burden at pick number 39 is a premium selection for the Chicago Bears at a spot where they didn't necessarily need a guy like that. But I think there was no way Ben Johnson was going to let that talent slip further down the board and not grab him at 39. And to me, that's the steal of the draft, because Luther Burden is going to be, in my opinion, a superstar for the Chicago Bears and not just a slot merchant. He's going to be a guy that's going to run the entire route tree and eat for years for Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson and make this offense so much fun to look at. But like I said, in 2025, it's probably going to be a primary slot role, which is great for him. He can be used on quick screens or on sit routes over the middle to be that QB-friendly guy that he is and was at Mizzou already. So he's going to have an impact early on, but I think the sky's the limit with Luther Burden, and I'm extremely excited what he's going to bring with Ben Johnson and the Bears offense moving forward. And with that being said, guys, that's the end of today's episode. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what you think of Luther Burden being a Chicago Bear and what he's going to bring over the next couple of years to the Bears offense. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. There's going to be a lot more draft content or post-draft content and off-season content being planned for the Chicago Bears. And as always, guys, bear down.